About the three hills that used to be in this commons here, and a little bit of sleight of hand that happened and that took them away. So behind me, they are getting ready to film this Hubie Halloween, which is a new Adam Sandler Netflix film being filmed in Salem. It's supposed to be filmed during October, and they have all these vendor tents sent up like they would be during that month. So, the hills. So this common actually had those hills, and over all the way over in there in that grass area behind me, that's a flagpole. It's actually 5 ponds. That was the second part of the sleight of hand. So in 1800, Eliza Haskell Derby Jr. had to figure out a way to help all these people in town, these Federalists who didn't want to pay Jefferson's new custom duties, come up with a way to avoid paying all that money. So he met a guy named Charles Bulfinch who was building a poorhouse. I guess those rich men, they thought they're paying taxes. They might end up in this new poorhouse Bulfinch is building. Probably not, but might take chances. So they're going to hire Eliza Haskell Derby Jr. to come up with an idea to go around Jefferson's duties, and it all incorporates Charles Bulfinch. Bulfinch is a man, they say, who built Boston, and in time he became the architect in Washington, D.C. after the British burned down the Capitol building in 1815. So he gets to put it back together, and he gets to put all the tunnels in Washington, D.C. But first, he did this plan in Boston. Harrison Gray Otis was governor at the time in 1795 and decided he needed a new state house to be built on the foundation of Boston's biggest smuggler and one of the richest men ever in America, John Hancock. So they had the house removed already, but kept his basement, his smuggling tunnels, and they needed some more. But what do you do with all the tunnel dirt when you're building new tunnels, leaving that basement to the Beacon Hill neighborhood? See, Bulfinch and the governor had purchased the Mount Vernon properties from the painter John Singleton Copley and chose not to pay him for several years. He was living in England at the time. So, it took a while to get lawyers back and forth. You could just avoid paying them. So, now as he's developing Beacon Hill and putting all the tunnels in, what do you do with the tunnel dirt? Well, say behind the State House at the time was a hill with 3 peaks on it called Tremont. Tremont Ave in Boston leads to those where the hills used to be. So Bulfinch erected the first train to move heavy haulage. It was a funicular railroad. It was like a gondola. As one train went up, the other one went back down on a pulley system. As everyone is watching all the dirt be moved by this train, well, it's really easy to sneak in tunnel dirt. So all that dirt from the hills started to be filling into Mill Pond and the mudflats of the Charles River. And while everyone's not looking at this hand, you don't see the hand holding the selfie stick either. That hand starts sneaking in tunnel dirt into the same location, and no one knows any better. So Bulfinch was in Salem 6 years later in 1801, and he gave Derby the idea. So behind me, where Adam Sandler is filming the movie, used to be the hills. Now they're not there. And neither, behind me over here, is all the ponds that used to be there at one time also. So take down the dirt from the hills, fill in the ponds, and then sneak all your tunnel dirt in as much as you want, and no one knows, is the wiser. Bulfinch would go do this in Salem, then he would do it in Newburyport next. Same thing, had a pond in the hill, and he had a courthouse to build. In Salem, later on, he'll build Old Town Hall. And then in Washington, D.C., you got Capitol Hill, and you got the Capitol building that he's rebuilding. Now, the thing is, in Washington, he did it backwards. There was no water in front of the hill, so they built a giant canal, which is gone now, all the way up to the Capitol. And as they're moving the dirt from digging the canal, they snuck in tunnel dirt. So this time, usually he ends up having no water in front of the hill, but this time he actually had water placed in front of the hill when he did it in Washington, D.C. And the ones in Washington, a lot of them are open to the public. If you go to the Library of Congress, between the Adams and Jefferson wings of the Library of Congress, there's 4 layers of tunnels that you're welcome to walk through. And you can walk from the Library of Congress to the Capitol building, and you also could go to the various senators' buildings that way as well. So that's pretty much it for right now. and hopefully the movie ends up pretty good. I did see Steve Buscemi in town as well, going to one of our famous locations in Bungalow. So I guess he's become a little bit of a local. That's it for now from the Smelling Smugglers tour and the Daily Dirt. Well, check out for some other ones. The books are Salem Secret Underground, The History of the Tunnels, and also its sequel, Sub Rosa, that tells you after America's first millionaires made their fortunes in Salem, what did he do with the money? So, talk to you soon. Bye.